Ever since a little over a year ago, I started using Zettelkasten, a note-taking system, as my second brain. Something fundamentally changed in my first brain. The first one is my memory drastically improved. I went from, oh, you know what? This reminds me, someone said in this book, I'm gonna butcher it, but they basically said XYZ, to this is exactly what F. Scott Fitzgerald was talking about, holding two opposing ideas and still retain the ability to function. And it was put in another way by this quantum theoretical physicist called Carlo Rovelli. He coins it the physics paradox, that we have two opposing physics theory. One is general relativity, the other one is quantum mechanics. They oppose each other, yet they work so wonderfully in the real world. We are making so many advancements in technology, in our knowledge of science. I went from just fuzzy memory of someone said something to, oh, here are all of these people with their backgrounds. These are the anecdotes. These are exactly what they said. It's mind-blowing that this happened. So number one, very obvious, was my memory improved. Number two, I am more articulate about ideas that I haven't had a lot of time to process. Related to number one, because I can recall these ideas so much better. I then do something in my note-taking system that I also talked about in this previous video, where I intentionally structure it so that I'm practicing succinctly articulating these new ideas so that I can use them, practice them, build on them. Now that I can remember things, recall things, the other thing that changed was I now enjoy hard work. I now enjoy those slow releasing dopamine tasks like thinking, writing, breaking down complexity. All of those things become more enjoyable than going for the fast dopamine hits like reaching for my phone to check social media or grab a bag of chips. This is what I mean when I say Zettelkasten changed my life. It is so day and night. This fascinated me so much. I was digging into the science behind this. I was reading books like these to understand what is going on in my brain, what has changed. And I found out that Zettelkasten mimics so many of the fundamental processes that naturally happen in our brain, and it does it so much better. So today, let me focus on memory and tell you how you can hack your brain too by using Zettelkasten to remember and recall so much better. If you already know what Zettelkasten is, just skip to this timestamp. And for those who haven't heard of this before or don't really know the ins and outs, let me show you what is Zettelkasten. A Zettelkasten means slip box in German. Zettel is slip, which is usually referring to a slip of paper, an index card, and Kasten means crate, which is like a box that you put the index cards in. And Nicholas Luhmann, a German sociologist, used this unique note-taking system in order to track all his research and to be able to produce 70 books and hundreds of articles in just 30 plus years. That's an average of more than 2 books a year, as well as all the academic articles. So how does he do this? It's with the Zettelkasten method. And the Zettelkasten method is very simple. All you need are 3 things. You need Zettel, which is the pieces of paper. You need Kasten, which is the box or the crate. And then you just need a pen. Of course, this is the analog version of Zettelkasten. I'll share with you the digital version of it as well. But let's start from the basics of how Luhmann did it. There are 3 types of Zettel, 3 types of notes. They are fleeting notes, literature notes, and permanent notes. First, fleeting notes. These are the thoughts that come through our head as we go on our daily lives, whether it's shower thoughts, thoughts that you have when you're taking a long walk, when you're talking to friends and all of a sudden you have an epiphany. These are thoughts that disappear very quickly, so we must capture them first in notes. The second type of notes are literature notes, and this is what we write down when we are consuming content. Whether it's reading a book, an article, listening to a podcast, watching a YouTube video, watching the movie, listening to songs, doesn't matter what it is, when you're consuming content, you want to write down literature notes. And these capture first one atomic idea each. So it has to be brief, no more than 3 to 5 sentences. Then it also has to be redescribed in your own words so that you internalize what is being said. Then 3, you also want to be able to note down the references so you know exactly where it came from and you can always go back to reference it. So now we have fleeting notes from our day, we have literature notes from when we consume content and when we are learning. Then the third type of notes are permanent notes. We create permanent notes by reviewing what we've written in our fleeting notes and in our literature notes. So the input is the literature notes and the fleeting thoughts that you've had, and the output is the permanent note. Pretty simple. Right? 3 types of nodes, you make connections between them. Sounds easy, but this simple method unleashes your brain's potential. Because, in essence, Zettelkasten is a neural network simulation. The brain processes information through a network of neurons. Every time you make connections between neurons and creating neural pathways, you start to learn things and be able to remember things. In Zettelkasten, of course, this is the beauty. Right? All the ideas are in a network. The nodes are nodes and they connect to each other. This is the fundamental difference between traditional note-taking, where you have the topic at the very top and you go down in a linear fashion, filling out the ideas. In Zettelkasten, it's about the idea and the connections between the ideas. And when you start to use a network of ideas, a lattice work of ideas, as Charlie Munger says, then you unleash the superpower in your brain's memory. The first rule of Zettelkasten is that you want to keep each idea atomic. Sounds trivial, okay, I should make it as small as possible, but actually this is what triggers how you can use your working memory better. Working memory temporarily handles and processes information, and it uses chunking, making complex ideas into smaller bits in order to be able to do this on the fly. And in Zettelkasten, because you're not taking the notes as in topic and then let me fill in the details, but rather here's one idea, here's another idea, let me connect to them, you're already naturally chunking the information before you put it down. This way, you can hold these ideas better in your working memory, and it leads to the second thing you can do, which is help transition the information in your working memory into long-term memory. In the brain, when chunks of information move from working memory to long-term memory, it needs indexing so that the brain knows, oh, actually I put that information here in my long-term memory. And in Zettelkasten, we have similar processes. We might use tags, we might use maps of contents, we might use links in order to know where did I put something so I can better retrieve it. And just like the brain, the more we reflect, the more we connect, the more we categorize, we are going to be able to embed those information more efficiently into our long-term memory, which I'll get into in 1 second. And when we turn working memory into long-term memory, we store the information spatially. So in our notes, the way that we connect them, the way that we use things like the idea compass to store ideas spatially will really help augment how our first brain works and how our first brain retain the information we have. So already, even covering these 2 things, you can see that we've gone way beyond shallow processing, and we went to the deep processing level, which was mentioned by Craig and Lockhart. Not only do we cement our memory, we also cement our understanding of the concepts. Once we start to do this, the third thing we can do with Zettelkasten is to consolidate our long-term memory. Long-term memory allows us to hold on to concepts for more than just weeks, months. For years, we can hold on to these concepts and use them and build on them. And the number 1 technique so far we have found to improve the consolidation of long-term memory is retrieval practice. And Zettelkasten, no surprise, the whole system is one big retrieval practice. And more importantly, it's not just retrieval, but it's spaced repetition of these retrievals, which is the perfect storm to help you remember things. Whenever we come back to the notes, when we build a habit to notice fleeting thoughts, when we are reading something, consuming something, we're pulling out the interesting atomic ideas. Every time we do that, we have spaced repetition because we're thinking about, oh, what other ideas can I connect this to? By focusing on that, you're trying to retrieve from your brain with no assistance, how can I find the best idea that's related to this? And this does wonders. Not only does it give you spaced repetition, but also it teaches your brain to anticipate this need of finding old memories and being able to connect them. And when anticipation comes, the other benefit is that it gives you a dopamine hit. Because dopamine, right, the pleasure molecule, isn't just about pleasure, but it's about the anticipation of pleasure. So once your brain knows, okay, I get this feeling of satisfaction when I connected 2 ideas together. Well, you know what? Your brain is going to enjoy this hard thinking work. And that's the beauty of Zettelkasten, is not only does it help you take notes, understand things, it helps you memorize things so much better, to recall them, and also to help you enjoy the hard work of thinking, working through ideas. I think you can tell how excited I am by this. And to top it all off, once you start to have more ideas in your long-term memory, what happens is your working memory also improves. And if we really want to nerd out about it, the way that long-term memory stores information is that it creates little concept memories, and they are like frameworks. You know, they're like the simple representation of how something works so that you can retrieve it and use it in your working memory. So everything is connecting in my world. I am really excited about this. And if you haven't given Zettelkasten a try, please do check out this video here to get started. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.